All right, let me see if I can help you out with sentences. So let's see what questions we have to answer. So we got 5 here, and these questions will show up again at the end of the video so that you can answer them for yourself. So we want to know the difference between a compound and a complex sentence, right? A lot of times we're pretty good on simple sentences, but people do get confused on compound versus complex. Likely to show up as a question. Uh, Dependent clause, do we know what that is? And then also being able to compare that to the independent clause, also very common. Examples of coordinating conjunctions. So we want to know the difference between a coordinating and a subordinating conjunction. If you never heard of such a thing, don't worry about it. We will go over it. Um, what joins dependent clauses to independent clauses? So you can probably see like the dependent and independent clauses are very likely to show up in the sentences section. Right, we already got 2 questions on that, on dependent clauses, and give a couple of examples of subordinating conjunctions. So there you can see, again, coordinating and subordinating conjunctions, probably getting a feel for the type of questions you're going to see. All right, there we go. Dependent and independent clauses. A dependent clause is a group of words with a subject and a verb. It does not express a complete thought, so it is not a sentence and can't stand alone. Right, let me repeat that, right? And plus we have it highlighted here, right? A dependent clause can't stand alone as a sentence. So an example in quotes, because she has an attitude problem, is a dependent clause. It contains the subject she and the verb has, right? So again, it will have a subject and a verb, a dependent clause, but it can't stand alone. An independent clause, on the other hand, can stand alone as a sentence. Well, again, dependent clause cannot. You got to have that one locked in your mind. If you have that, you're good to go on dependent and independent clauses. A sentence requires a subject and a verb. The subject is a person, place, or thing that either performs an action or is described in some way. The verb tells what action the subject is doing. Okay, so we'll look at these 3 types of sentences: simple, compound, and complex. A simple sentence only has one clause, such as, I like pizza. A clause usually contains a subject and something called a predicate. The predicate is a verb stating something about the subject. A compound sentence consists of 2 or more independent clauses. Becca walked to class, but Sarah ran. That would be a compound sentence. A complex sentence has at least one independent clause plus at least one dependent clause. The pizza, though very hot, was still quite good is a complex sentence with though very hot being the dependent clause. Okay, as we look at conjunctions, so first we'll do coordinating conjunctions. Coordinating conjunctions coordinate or join 2 or more sentences, main clauses, or words. It's a good idea to use the mnemonic fanboys to memorize coordinating conjunctions. So what fanboys stands for is for, and, nor, but, or, yet, and so, right? That's fanboys. So those are the coordinating conjunctions that you're going to see. And those are the ones you want to remember. And then we have subordinating conjunctions. These are parts of speech that join dependent clauses to independent clauses. It provides a transition between 2 ideas in the same sentence. The transition always indicates a place, time, or cause and effect relationship. Typical conjunctions are the words before, after, unless, until, and then. So as an example, after the concert, we all went out for dinner. And then is that a subordinating or coordinating conjunction, right? Because we saw the word after, then it would be subordinating. So again, coordinating conjunction, fanboys. Subordinating conjunction, you have these words right here: before, after, unless, until, then. Those are the ones you want. Again, what does fanboys stand for? For, and, nor, but, or, yet, and so. Is it boring? Yes, probably it is. Do you need to know it? Yes. So memorize not just fanboys, but what each of those stand for. Okay, and then a couple other extra things that do tend to show up. Comma splice. So a comma splice occurs when two sentences are joined with just a comma. It can be easy to confuse comma splices and run-on sentences. In a run-on sentence, two independent clauses are joined without punctuation. So here would be one. It gets so hot down here in the summer, comma, I can't wait for the fall. This sentence is a comma splice, and either a semicolon or making it two sentences would be advisable. Also, adding a coordinating conjunction, such as so, would be a possible solution. With parallel structure, sentences will have words in a list, and the list must be in the same form. So here would be an example. Hannah moved across the dance floor gracefully, beautifully, and smoothly. Right? So in that sentence, can you tell all the words ending in ly? Gracefully, beautifully, and smoothly? You would not want to say gracefully, beautifully, and smooth, right? That's a mistake that some people do make, right? But you want them to all line up with that same ending, and you'll be tested on that. That's referred to as parallel structure. Okay, and then we jump back into the questions. Let me get it so we can see this bottom part. There we go. Okay, so we go back into our questions. So we've gone over all of this stuff, and you should be able to answer these. If you have to go back into the video again to find the answers, that's perfectly fine, and that's actually the way we get this stuff encoded into our memory, so we're really ready to go. Right? Again, the big stuff you want to be familiar with: dependent versus independent clauses. Do you know how to recognize those? And coordinating versus subordinating conjunctions. Do you know how to differentiate those? Those are the two most likely things. The third one would really be this first question: compound versus complex sentence. Okay, so if you have those three things down, you're good to go on sentences.